Hi, and welcome to College Trail Chaos, a guide to becoming who we are truly called to be. I'm your host, Sammi, and I talk everything faith, feelings, and fruitfulness. Today's episode is titled The Moses Story, and it's also episode 2 of our God Calls Us in Different Ways series. So hi everyone, welcome back for yet another week. I am so happy you're here, and I'm so happy to be back again. So today we're reading Moses' story, and this is about the burning bush. It's a very famous story. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of it, and it's actually quite interesting because this is kind of the opposite position of where Joseph was in, where Joseph was essentially like bullied by his brothers. Now Moses is just like hanging out, doing life, and then all of a sudden's like, you're gonna go call the people out of Israel, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, that's basically what we're reading about today. It's going to be Exodus chapters 3 through 5. It's basically just talking about how even though life feels really boring sometimes, and sometimes it feels like we're not serving God, we still are, and there's still many ways we can serve God, even though we're just like in like regular life, which I think is awesome, and I think that's so amazing because, you know, we don't always have to be doing like these big fancy things for like being like kings and rulers, just like Joseph was. Like, we can be regular people and still show glory to God, which I think is so amazing. Alright, so this is Exodus 3. It's titled Moses and the Burning Bush. Now Moses was tending to the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, to the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that through the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. He's like, let's investigate. Sorry, that was like really cringe. Anyway, verse 4. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and bring them up to the land that is good and spacious land, the land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, the Hittites, and the Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me. I have seen the way Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me, and they ask me, What is his name? Then what should I tell them? God says to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. The I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, Say to the Israelites, the Lord of your God, the fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hittites, and Jebusites, the land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are going to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. and I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed towards this people, so that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any living woman in her house for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters, and so you will plunder the Egyptians. So basically what's happening here is Moses is just hanging out in the fields doing his regular work, and he sees a bush burning, and he's like, hey, why did it burn down? Hey, that's weird, like, what the heck happened? So he, like, goes and checks it out, of course, and then God's like, hey, what's up? What up, Moses? And then he, like, hears what the Lord has to say, and Moses is like, yeah, but what if they say this to me? And the Lord's like, no, then you say this. And then he's like, okay, but hypothetically, like, what if he says this? Or, like, what if they say this? And the Lord's like, they're gonna say this, or you're gonna say this back. And then Moses goes again, suppose, like, what if, and then God's just like, go, do it. I'm tired of you. Like, no, not that, but, you know, I just think it's kind of fun. It's like just a little bit humorous the way that, Moses is like, suppose they say this, like, and then, rightfully so, Moses is just like, who am I to go talk to Pharaoh? I'm just a guy in the fields, man. And God's like, nah, bro, you're my chosen one. And he's like, okay, big dog, whatever you say. And so he starts on his journey. So now we're going to read Exodus 4. It's titled, Signs for Moses. Moses answered, what if they do not believe me, or they listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. The Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. This, said the Lord, is that so you may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. Then the Lord said, put your hand inside your cloak. So Moses put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out, his skin was leprous and had become white as snow. Now put it back in your cloak, he said. So Moses put his hand back in his cloak, and when he took it out, it was restored, like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, if they do not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second. But if they do not believe these two signs or listen to you, take some water from the Nile, pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground. Moses said to the Lord, pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue. The Lord said to him, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? It is not I, the Lord. Now go, and I will help you speak, and I will teach you what to say. But Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else. The Lord's anger burned against Moses, and he said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you. He will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak, and I will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you as if he were your mouth, as if you were God to him. But take the staff in your hand so you can perform signs with it. Okay, I'm going to finish reading the rest of the chapter in a second, but I just have to say the first part of this is genuinely hilarious. Like, every time I read this, I just can't help but laugh. Because, like, God is just playing straight magician on Moses. He's like, put your staff on the ground. Snake. And then he's like, and then Moses is like, what is a snake? What's wrong with you? And then God's like, pick it up. And so he does. He's like, what's a staff now? What's going on here? And then he's like, put your hand inside your cloak. So he does. And he's like, dude, my skin is leprous now. And he's like, do it again. And his skin turns normal. And it's like, that is so funny. That's like genuinely hilarious. Like, I feel like people forget that God has a sense of humor. And he's just like, he's not messing with Moses, but it's just like kind of funny that he's like, and I'm gonna turn your skin into lepers now. And it's just like, it's really funny. I just think it's like hilarious. So then the third thing is obviously he's like, take water from the Nile and turn it, and he's gonna turn it into blood when it hits the ground. And then Moses is like, once again fighting this, and is like, I'm not eloquent. I'm not, like, I don't know what to say to these people. Like, I'm literally just a guy. And then the Lord is like, who gives them their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who makes them, like, blind or can make them see. He's like, that was me. That's what I thought. So I'll teach you what to say. Like, don't you worry. Don't you worry. I got you. I'm going to teach you what to say. And then after this, Moses says, pardon your servant, Lord, please send someone else. He's like, I am not cut out for this. I can't do this. And I just can't imagine, like, the Lord genuinely just be like, oh, this stupid human, like, just go. Like, I'm telling you to go, so go. So he says he's burned with anger against Moses. And I just think it's so funny because it's, like, so, like, dad-core. It's just, like, oh, this stupid child. Like, that's exactly what God is doing. And I think it's so funny because every time Moses is just like, that's not me. Don't send me. Like, send my brother. Like, please, just don't send me. And the Lord's like, you're going. It's like trying to fight your mom from going to soccer practice. It's like, I don't want to go to soccer practice. No, don't make me go. And he's like, no, get in the car. Go. Get in the car. Go. I genuinely think it's so funny. Not that the word is something to be laughed at, but it's just like people forget that God has a sense of humor. He's the literal creator of laughter, by the way. I know that guy. And then he says, I will teach you and your brother what to say. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on with the rest of the chapter. I just had to say that. I think it's really funny. So this is verse 18. Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, let me return to my own people in Egypt and see if any of them are still alive. Jethro said, go, and I wish you well. Now the Lord had said to Moses in Midian, go back to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons and put them on a donkey and started back to Egypt. And he took the staff of God in his hand. The Lord said to Moses, when you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But it will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. Then he said to Pharaoh, Then say to Pharaoh, this is what the Lord said. Israel is my firstborn son, and I told you, let my son go so he may worship me. But if you refuse to let him go, I will kill your firstborn son. At the lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. But Zipporah took a flint knife and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it. Surely you are the bridegroom of the blood to me, she said. So the Lord let him alone. At that time she said, bridegroom of blood, referring to circumcision. The Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent to him and to say, and also about all the signs he had commanded him to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed the signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them, he had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. So in the second half, basically Moses is just going back to Egypt, and the Lord is telling him what he's going to say to Pharaoh and telling him what's going to happen like God's like, by the way, when you say this, Pharaoh's not going to let the people go. You're going to have to try a little bit harder than that. That's basically what Pharaoh's like. He's like, you'll find out, but he's just like, I'm not going to let my people go because that's stupid. So this is Exodus 5. It's called Bricks Without Straw. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness. Pharaoh said, who is this Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. Then they said, the Lord of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword. But the king of Egypt said, Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work. Then Pharaoh said, look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working? That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people. You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw. But require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are carrying out. Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies. So basically, this is verses 1 through 9. Basically, Moses and Aaron are like, hey, by the way, this is what God said. And Moses and Pharaoh's like, you're full of it. Nobody said that. Like, what are you talking about right now? So Pharaoh's like, actually, because you came that and said to me, I'm going to make their work harder. And I can just imagine that Moses and Aaron are just like, awesome, great. Now we have to deal with this. Like, now it's more, you know? This is verse 10. Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, this is what Pharaoh says, I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all. So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, complete the work required for you each day, just as when you had straw. And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, why haven't you met your quota of bricks yesterday or today, as before? Then the Israelite overseers went and appealed to Pharaoh. Why do you treat your servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, make bricks. Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is within your own people. Pharaoh said, lazy, that's what you are, lazy. That's what you keep saying, let us go sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks. The Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble when they told, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required for you each day. When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them. And they said, may the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh, and his officials will have put a sword to their hand to kill us. Moses returned to the Lord and said, why, Lord, have you brought trouble onto this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble onto this people, and you have not rescued your people at all. So basically, Moses is, in the second half of this chapter, Pharaoh is still like, no, work them harder. Like, this is just a bunch of baloney that Moses is spewing. Like, he's like telling people, he's like, hey, don't believe it, it's false, I'm the only true one, like, blah blah, all this stuff, because he's Pharaoh and he has a big ego. And Moses goes back to God and he's like, dude, what is happening? You just made it worse. Like, seriously, what is happening right now? And chapter 6 goes like more into depth, but basically what ends up happening is that it still doesn't work, and Moses has to keep going back to Pharaoh over and over again, and it's like, hey, let your people go. Hey, let the people go. Hey, let the people go. God told you to do so. And Pharaoh's like, you're just yapping over here. You're just yapping, just saying stuff because you're lying. Like, whatever. Because that's who Pharaoh is. And then God's like, okay, Pharaoh's not going to listen. Guess what? 7 plagues. And yeah. And then Pharaoh's like, okay, fine. I'll let them go. And then Moses brings deliverance, and, yay, happy the people of, I guess it's the Israelites. The Israelites get set free from Egypt, and they get to go live in their Holy Land. So, yay! It all works out in the end, but, basically, like, the main point of this story is that, like, Moses was literally in the wilderness, and he was literally just a regular guy, and God's like, actually, you're gonna do, like, one of the biggest things in history. You're just gonna go set, like, a whole generation of people free. Because I said so. It's just like a random Tuesday afternoon. And God's like, hey, Moses, go set those people free. And Moses is like, okay. Like, okay, I'll go set the people free. I just think it's, like, really funny. It's not funny, obviously. But, just the way, like, God humbles us. And it's just like, oh, you thought you were gonna have a normal life? Guess what? No, you're not. And I think that's really funny. But it's just like, we're regular people. We can be regular people. We don't have to be like these big, like, names or like these big fancy, like, rich people, whatever. These people that are, like, well known. We don't have to be any of that. We can just be regular people, and God can still use us to do amazing things. Whether it is delivering a whole nation from slavery, or it's literally sharing the gospel. We are still being servants to God, and, he can literally use us in any way. And I think that's just so beautiful. It shows that when we are obedient to God, it allows us to be better servants for him. So, for example, Moses was very loyal to God, and just like Joseph was very loyal to God, that's why they got those opportunities of Moses got to go deliver the people, and then Joseph got to like do all the things. And even though these like hard things happen, so like for Joseph, the hard things that happen were like his brother selling him, and then betrayal, and then the wife, and then all of this other stuff. And then with Moses, he's just like a regular guy, and he's like, God, I don't want to. God, I'm just a regular person. Pick somebody else. Like, they're both having their own struggles in their own way, and they're like, it's not me. Like, I'm just a regular person. Like, don't, like, go pick somebody else because I'm not, like, worthy enough for this. And they had it in their hearts to be able to, like, humble themselves enough and be like, I'm not worthy of going to deliver these people or going to like talk to these people, whatever it is. And I just think it's like so cool that they were able to be so humble and so obedient to God that they were just like, I'm scared, but I'll do it. And I think we should all try and have that mindset that is like, hey, I'm terrified, but I'm gonna do it anyway because that's what the Lord is calling me to do. And I just think it's cool to look at stories of like, you know, like the fact that like Moses is a big name in the Bible and Joseph is a big name in the Bible, but they were just regular people before that. And I think it's just cool to like see that. And it's just like, you know, we can still be servants even though like we're college students or we have like a 9-to-5 or we just like do whatever all day. Like we can just still be servants of God even if we don't like have all these big important roles, even if every day is just the same, like, you know, if that's how you feel. And I think it's just really important to realize that regular people can do cool things too. So for application in this episode, I encourage you to just take like a random moment throughout the day and just like pray that even though you're just like doing a regular thing that you do every day, brushing your teeth, whatever it is, you know, just ask God and say, hey, let me do something cool today, even in my regular day, or like, let me show you glory, let me serve you somehow today. And I just think the more we think about us being servants to God, even if sometimes we just feel like regular people, that's who we are at the end of the day. And it's important that whatever we are doing in our lives, it is to please Him. And you know, obviously He still loves us. He's not gonna love us at any point in time. But it's just like we should get in the mindset of being like, how can I serve God today? How can I be a good servant of Christ today? How can I obey? How can I, like, you know, respect God today? I don't know if you guys have ever like heard the thing like fear God or whatever that is. I didn't understand that for the longest time, because I was like, fear God, why would I fear Him? He's my best bud, right? And then I realized that fear kind of means respect. So you're so like fear in the sense that you respect Him so much that you will, like, I don't want to say do what He wants, but it's just like when people say like, oh, we should fear God, it's just basically saying we should respect God and like His wishes and the things that He wants us to do and the plans that He has for our lives. And so I just like encourage you all to fear God every day. And it's like, don't think of it as something that's like scary. Like, don't be like afraid of God. Be fear Him and respect Him, because He is almighty and He is holy and He is powerful. So that's it for this episode. We're gonna pray and that'll be it. So if you would, please bow your head, fold your hands, and close your eyes with me. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for just the wonderful weather we're having. Lord, it's just so amazing, just like the wonderful things that you can do in our regular, boring lives. Sometimes when we feel like we aren't good enough, or that we're just like, I'm not holy enough to be a servant for God, or I'm not cool enough to be like Moses or be like Joseph. It's just important to remember that they were just regular people before you decided to call them. And I just think it's so beautiful that we can find beauty in realizing that there is power in just regular people too. And also, Lord, I just ask that you, by showing us, by us showing you faith, that you allow us to that you just allow us to be better servants and be more obedient to you. Lord, I ask that this message touches at least one person today. Lord, that it would just be amazing, honestly. And Lord, I just thank you for all my viewers and listeners. It's just such a wonderful blessing to be able to share the gospel every week. And I praise you endlessly for that. Lord, I ask that those who are sick or in need of healing right now, that you are just with them and you place a healing hand on them. And Lord, I also want to pray for good weeks for everybody this week. Lord, please let them be stress-free and get rid of anxiety. And Lord, if there is any anxieties or stresses, I ask that my viewers know that they can go to you when they are feeling those things. Lord, again, I thank you for this wonderful day, and I thank you for the gift of being able to share the gospel. I pray all of this in your holy name. Amen. Thank you for praying with me. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Stay faithful, stay fruitful, and God bless, my friends.